Secretary.
Thanks everyone, thanks for your time. So I'm from the RMT and we represent workers right throughout the supply chain of the energy sector, from offshore workers, divers, ROV technicians, seafarers and port workers. And let me tell you, the one thing I've heard over the past few years is quality jobs. Quality jobs is the motto that's run alongside just transition. And let me give you a snapshot of the quality jobs that we see, which is why we need changes through regulation and legislation. Where seafarers are working in the renewables sector for less than the national minimum wage, some of them for 30 euros a day on a 12-hour day. Okay, that's not acceptable. So when we talk about a just transition and individuals going from the oil and gas into renewables, it shouldn't be at a detriment to the finances that they've received, of which they're accustomed to over many years, of the skill set that they've acquired. Going from the oil and gas into renewables, there's a 30% reduction in wages on average. That's not acceptable. That's not a just transition. We've heard all the talk about just transition through the previous government and into Labour government. And we've been working very closely with a number of new forums that have been set up through the Labour government. But we've got to accept that time for talking has come to an end, and we must see them walking the walk and making the changes to ensure that places like Aberdeen, which we've just heard from the Aberdeen Trades Council, and the decimation of a community. Because it's not going to happen. It is happening. It has happened. You've only got to walk around places like Aberdeen and you see the hotels that are empty. Okay, the taxi drivers that are waiting in queues that were once always full of oil workers going off. And our members are saying to us, where is the just transition? When is this going to happen? Because week on week we're seeing thousands and thousands of redundancies in the offshore oil and gas sector and the supply chains throughout them. We must be looking to strengthen that, okay, and we must be taking no backward steps. We must be asking for sectoral collective bargaining throughout the entirety of the supply chain. We must be asking for local labour. We must be asking for local supply chains, and we must be investing in the future of the next generation of workers. Because for me, it doesn't feel right when we give a licence to a wind farm operator for a 25-year licence through the Crown Estate, yet the legislation, whether that be employment or health and safety, doesn't extend to the boundaries of the UK continental shelf or the renewable energy zone. And we must fix that through legislation and regulation. Because we can't send workers to work if they can't provide for the family. We can't send workers to work if they're not supporting the local community. And we can't send workers to work if we're not investing through the entirety of the supply chain for the next generation. That has got to be top of our mandate. You know, when we asked how this can be delivered, okay, legislation, regulation, sitting down with the trade unions, sitting down with everyone that's involved in this and saying these are the hardships that are felt, both in the industries that we represent and the communities. We can't allow a just transition to continue in the way that it has, whilst we're seeing positive moves forward. If you've got an individual on $40 a day, working for 12 hours a day in the renewable sector, that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. We need to challenge, and we need to continue to challenge, but rightly so, our members are saying, where is the just transition? We're having to pay, and I've got members here today who are having to pay for their own training into a transition. Why are we giving 25-year contract and not thinking about this and investing in this throughout the entirety of the supply chain? So a lot has got to change, okay? The talking shops are great, but we need to move and walk the walk now and provide an identity to those individuals, because, by the way, it's not just people that we're losing, it's skills that we're losing, as is rightly being pointed out, and they will pass on to the next generation of workers. And it's important that we embed ourselves in a system whereby we're looking after each other through the licensing stage. Thanks very much, and solidarity from the RMT.